Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the Summit 6 qualifiers. I know it says Summit 5 up there in the upper left-hand corner, but never fear, it's actually Summit 6. A new ticket just hasn't fully been added in yet to the Dota 2 world, but I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Tsunami643, and we saw Friends kind of take over the game in the previous series with the Yoku Morphling. I mentioned a little bit of a Undershock Legion commander that helped to take over the game. What did you see out of Elements that you kind of liked in that last game? It was a bit of a rough go for them.
I suppose I could give credit to the supports, despite the fact that Friends were just running roughshod. The supports managed to stay alive for a lot longer than I was expecting. Normally in those types of games, you have the kind of experience that Always Wanna Fly was having on his Coddle, where you're just constantly getting bullied. There's nowhere safe, everywhere you go is death, and you barely even get to see a team fight, and you never get gold. But Ogre was able to complete a Glimmer Cape, which helped out, and in theory it would have been great, but Friends was just too far ahead for any of the items to make any difference.
You know, and I'll mention something real quickly as we do see the Oracle come out for Friends. Mirana's still taken for Elements Pro Gaming. It does feel like in the past, Elements have run heroes that can be team fight oriented. One of the most iconic heroes for me out of these guys is Mitch playing as Darkseer. They were consistently first picking it for him, and for a while I felt like he was one of the better Darkseer players throughout Europe, but it feels like they've kind of leaned away from that style of Dota. I'm not sure if that's what we should be expecting more of, but I mean, it kind of was a team fight oriented draft, but there wasn't a lot of control in the last one. Like Luna, you got Eclipse, that's fine and dandy, but Friends were just able to be so elusive. And now with an Oracle Batrider opening, I don't know where you go to this for Elements Pro Gaming.
It's possible that they strayed away from that strategy. I can't really say why, but in that previous game, I can't say that I was too impressed by their, I guess, unification. Like, anytime they would go to defend a tower or go for a smoke gank, it seemed kind of half-hearted. It didn't seem as, like, crystallized as I typically want to see from a team that is known for team fight strategies. But maybe this game will be different. Maybe they just didn't have the heroes, because ET and Mirana can definitely set a lot of things up for team fights.
No, definitely. And I mean, you think about back to when Mirana was just the be-all, end-all, first pick hero every single game, with the exception of Drow, and Drow would just get banned out anyways. But it a lot of times coalesced with an Elder Titan. You had this really dynamic draft that did a ton of magical damage that was amplified by natural order. Not to mention, you would sometimes have, Mirana be able to deal a decent amount of right-click damage herself. So I really like this opening. It's kind of going back to a simply executed idea. Likewise, Friends have it in the same vein. You've got a Batrider pick and an Oracle to make sure that your opponents don't end up getting it. And the big problem I'm seeing here is that Mirana previously would be able to deal really well with heroes that didn't have, or teams that didn't have Oracle on their team. But Fate's Edict kind of owns her.
It does, but that's assuming that this is going to be another mid Mirana that we saw from Friends last game. If it's a roaming Mirana, then Fate's Edict, I mean, it can be great against the Starstorm whenever that happens, but if Mirana isn't given a heavy farm priority and she's just creating pressure with arrows during the laning phase, Oracle's not the best support to deal with that, because Shadow Demon, who we saw last game as Elements' support, much better at countering that sort of, I guess, roaming aggression. And Friends I don't know if that's how they like to play. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that Elements didn't ban the Morphling again, because Morphling is a pretty fine hero from what I'm seeing in this draft right now.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be. And whatever else you want to pair with it at this point. Like, you got the survivability in lane that Oracle gives you. You don't have any silences on the opposing team yet. I think if they're going to take it, I would want to see it probably fourth for them. So there's one less hero that could potentially get rolled out. But I mean, honestly, with the Elder Titan already taken for them, I think, honestly, we could see Elements Pro Gaming take it themselves too. Elder Titan's kind of a nice answer to that natural order, but instead we're going to be seeing the Afterlife Pudge, who was just a monster in the previous game. It actually might have been No Fear. I can't remember. I'll have to double check.
I'll check for you, actually, because I need to see this. They have a 100% win rate with Pudge out of 3 games, granted, but still nothing to scoff at. And let's see, Summit.
5 seconds remaining.
It was played
Game
by...
number 3 of that one, and it was Always Wanna Fly. So he's the man. He's the big bad man on the Pudge. It's cool to see it. I love to see me some Pudge games, and they third picked it in that draft as well. It was an answer to a Chronosphere before, so this feels like it's a little bit of a different look. And this is the other hero that Elements definitely have gone to time and again, is the Slark. Another one of those guys that can just take over a game.
Yeah, well, I'd say from Friends, the best defense is a good offense, and rather than going for something more defensive, like another defensive support, they instead pick more aggression. Pudge is great at mirroring the pressure that a Mirana can create early on, and especially for someone like a Slark, that's going to be a huge issue, because most of the heroes that Friends have, Slark isn't able to feed on any of them particularly well. I'd say Oracle is probably his best shot, but even Oracle is going to be staying far back and very well protected with a hook or even a lasso coming out that I'm going to be curious as to what this Slark's priority list is going to be in terms of targets.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting idea where they want to go. I mean, I don't know. It's tough too because you start thinking about these heroes. I think Slark deals with them well. You've got Dark Pact to take off, lasso shenanigans, as well as in lane. It's a good answer. Slark is notoriously good against the Juggernaut. So I kind of feel like a lot of this is going to come down to Pudge getting a decent amount of farm and like being able to jump on him with the dismember, as opposed to having to go for like a hook onto Slark, or just instead focus on the other heroes around him.
Yeah, I hope Elements protects this Slark well. I would like to see a tri-lane with the Elder Titan Lion defending him, because if Friends does what I hope they do and bully this Slark early on, Juggernaut's very self-sufficient. He doesn't need anyone policing him or babysitting him. He's going to be able to farm just fine no matter what they send into his lane. So Friends is able to use these other roamers, like Oracle's a fairly strong roamer, and obviously a good support as well, but Purifying Flames is a ton of burst damage, and Slark isn't the best against that level of burst.
Yeah, no, that is something that they're going to need to keep their eyes on and make sure that they don't get caught out by that. I feel like the Lion's a little bit weird in this draft. Do you want to speak a little bit about where you see him fitting in, or maybe why you think that they ended up taking him?
I would guess that they're looking for something like a tri-lane support, and they want to play it aggressive. Lion is probably a good middle ground between offensive and defensive. A lot of times you'll see like a Witch Doctor in a similar position as well. It's these kinds of supports that, depending on how the game goes, they can adapt very easily. They don't need items, all they need is their spells, and if things are going well, that's great. You build aggressive items, like on Witch Doctor you get an Ag, on Lion you get a Blink. If things are going poorly, that's fine. Both of these heroes are still very strong with their supports, and I think Elements is looking for kind of... Their previous game seemed a little bit too tunnel vision. This one seems a little bit more well-rounded, and with a Faceless Void to round it out, I think that Elements is definitely showing more versatility in terms of where this game can go than what we saw last game.
Well, and this to me also shows a little bit of a unique style, that they're not afraid of that Pudge counter with the Faceless Void in there, which is normally one of the reasons why you would end up taking Pudge, is as a response to him, or previously also like a response to the Kunkka or something. I don't know. Do you think that Friends need to go for like another, OD's already out of the pool, there aren't really any other cores that are defensive in nature. Who do you like mid at this point? Is like a Puck or something like that pretty solid, or maybe somebody else that scales better in the late game?
Right now, I think Jug may actually be a pretty good mid, because it's most likely going to be a Mirana mid. I can't imagine anywhere else that they're going to lane her. And Juggernaut does just fine against Mirana. What they could do for a carry, I mean, Elements was expecting another carry. They banned out the Anti-Mage at the very end. And Friends bans out the Axe, which leads me to believe it might be some other slippery carry who's not Anti-Mage. But again, I feel like Morphling would be just fine in this draft.
You'd always have to worry about the Natural Order taking off that armor, which is a frustrating thing for a Morphling to play into, but yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I like it. They have a good amount of answers to them already. I feel like Elements might have just responded really well to how they're going. They could also go Naga. That's something that hasn't been banned out.
It's true. Naga wouldn't be bad. Because
soul
Alchemist
man,
can't really punish the kind of greed that a Naga brings very well. And though Lion, Faceless Void, ET, like you said, this very strong team fighting comp that they have, they still need a way to force the fights. And they don't really have any strong initiator on elements right now, so even though they're great once the fight starts, getting to that point is going to be a challenge. And another greedy pick, Naga, Alchemist, both somewhere along the same lines, and I think that's a smart move from Friends.
All right, well, we'll see how they deal with it. I'm excited to continue to see Pudge being played, and Friends have taken it now in every series that they've played in this Summit 6 qualifiers. So we'll see if they keep on finding success with it, if they can 2-0 Elements Pro Gaming, or if we're possibly going to be moving into a game number 3 here. Any predictions going forward as to where you see this, who you feel like is going to come out on top of this game?
Based on how the first game went, I think Friends were just overall more put together. Draft-wise, I say they're relatively even. I like both teams' drafts, but I have more faith in Friends against Elements in this matchup, just based off of their mechanical skill.
Man, look at the Faceless Void here. He is just doing a cool little dance move, isn't he?
I love these spawn animations so much.
They're great. They're so wonderful.
I like Drowse a lot, wherever she's like crouched against the ground, all rangery.
I haven't seen that one in a while. She always gets banned out in the games that I'm casting. Well, an early smoke and TP rotations. We'll see where they end up going. It looks like they're actually both going to head mid for the moment. No fear
break
on
each
his
other's
Oracle.
Smoke.
As well
the
as
Oracle
Balan.
catches it. But ET makes the right move to not place a ward until he actually gets high ground vision. And nothing happens.
50 gold down the pocket for both of them, but that's fine. No Fear has been playing a really great Oracle too. To me, he's been one of the standout players on this team for Friends. Him and Yoku have definitely been making a lot of things happen. It's actually going to be an Undershock Juggernaut, and they're going to stick Yoku in the mid lane this time around for his Alchemist. So a little bit of a different look, but I like it. It's, again, just putting their faith in that single hero that gets enormous.
I'd say Alchemist prefers getting levels more than a Juggernaut. The reason you would put a Juggernaut mid is if you want to go for something a little bit greedier in the safe lane. Alchemist, needs access to the jungle easily, he needs his level 6 fast, so I do prefer him mid over the Jug, but both of them would have been fine. And Mirana, I mean, she's going to have a tough time either way. And actually, I don't know if it's a mid
off-lane Mirana.
Okay, so it's going to be a mid... What?
Faceless Void, it looks like.
Okay.
Which is a little bit interesting. I saw this in response to an OD mid, which was pretty good because every time he ended up going for an Astral, we get some pretty cool taunting animations. I don't know if you're allowed to do that if you lost the game, buddy. But
No, he won the game. Oh wait, which taunt are you looking at? Because I was looking at Alchemist.
I was looking at the Lions.
Oh no, he can't do that. That's not allowed.
But anyways, what I was saying is that it was a good answer to the OD because you would constantly be able to just, time walk away from the Astral Imprisonment. But the problem was that then OD ended up going for an Arcane Orb build and kind of just destroyed him in lane. So it ended up being a little bit rough. Yoku is going to do his taunts here though mid, and he's going to have to contend with an Elder Titan in his lane. Look at this guy. He's so happy.
Pudge returning the favor. Elder Titan's in a very odd position. Gets the stomp, though. He's going to be able to walk
meanwhile,
out.
over there to the side, there's battles brewing in the bottom lane as well. Afterlife might go down. I don't know if they're going to be able to find that kill. He's going to drop low, but not dead as of yet. So trading off in the mid lane. We just want to play. I don't know if he's going to be able to do a ton. The arrow, not going to connect. But the stomp, Yoku, slowed, not going to die.
So, this looks like your average pub game, 5 people mid, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's the right call from Elements. You need to... Oh, what a time bash. Yeah, you need to pressure this Alchemist early on, and even though Void does need the level advantage and splitting it between 2 heroes is kind of rough for him, it's all very valuable because Time Walk is great in the mid lane matchup, but that's assuming that you're even allowed to stand in the lane at all. And if Alchemist gets a huge level advantage early on, Acid Spray is literally the entire mid lane, so you won't be able to stand in it as a melee hero.
It's true. It's a rough one indeed. And the plus side about this too is that they're allowed to do this more so because nobody is really going to contest that off lane for the moment, and that just leaves Undershock completely free to get his farm on the jug.
Dota,
So
6 stacks, taking a lot of damage though.
you know, Afterlife, yeah, they dark packed it off. He's gonna be able to walk away. They find the kill. Lion gets it.
It's not often you see a 7 stacked enemy just walk away with just a little bit of damage, but really nice pounds coming out from that.
Oh, he's want to fly, caught in between, arrow follow-up, that's going to be a kill. Mirana finds him, so 2-0 start, and just like that, they're going to run by Yoku, and it's kind of weird. I mean, Mitch roaming around on this Mirana with the early levels, it's something that's pretty good, but at the same token, it's leaving this Juggernaut free to do whatever the hell he wants. And
this is just showing how good of a last pick this Alchemist was. It's causing so much, like, so many resources to be diverted. They're changing the river of the game just to make sure that this Alchemist doesn't get anything. But as a result, like you said, the Juggernaut is being completely uninhibited, and you can't shut down both of them. If you have to choose, it's usually the Alchemist, but I don't think Elements has, like, enough in a Slark to be able to 1v1 a Juggernaut when it comes to late game prowess.
Oh, always want to fly. I think that did they get a double stack off with the Pudge? I don't know if that's a thing, but it looked like 2 camps stacked simultaneously. The hard camp and the medium camp.
That would be pretty impressive.
It might have just been no fear, so I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, all the creeps have full HP. One of them would have needed to be hooked if it was from the Pudge.
Well, they do block down that ward, immediately taken away. Milan doesn't have any more and is going to be rotted to death slightly at least. And looking for the stomp. He's just going to keep on hitting him. Still has a hook available. Milan goes for the stomp and is going to be able to connect it. So rotation from the Bat Rider, though. Afterlife is here, blocks Milan's way. He's not able to escape through those trees, and suddenly, in some trouble, they're going to get a stomp there. They find the kill. Bat Rider gets it.
Alright, well, I guess they'll take that. And always want to fly. Oh, he doesn't get the stack. It would have been an amazing play if he managed to get the kill on the stack in one fell swoop. But instead, Mitch gonna beat the Alchemist to the Arcane Rune, and Bot Rune gets taken by the Lion.
That was nice. That was pretty good right there. So they do pull it back. Undershock still completely unhampered in these lanes is going to be enormous if somebody doesn't go and contest him. And I don't know if Mitch can do it solo, because right now, I mean, he's only level 3 versus the level 5 Jug. He's going to have Omni soon. And we're still seeing the stacks in the jungle for no fear. This is a 3 stack on the medium camp with a whole lot of those little creeps. And I don't know, I'm starting to feel like this could be a very tough game for Elements to respond to.
In games this high level, like, you can't stop an Alchemist. You can slow him down, but like, and you can make attempts, like they were trying to block out camps and stuff like that, but you see, despite all of this investment, Alchemist is doing relatively fine. 18 last hits, he has his 401k in the jungle, which is, I mean, he's going to be able to go into it very soon. He's already level 5 despite being like quad laned mid. Meanwhile, Slark has been free farming, but even then, like, he is falling behind in last hits compared to the Juggernaut.
I think this also is pretty indicative of the problem with running a Faceless Void mid. Always on Fly is sitting in this lane perfectly comfortable, and Void is going to get his farm as well. And when these items start to come online, there's going to be a moment, I think, where Elements can do a lot of damage to the side of Friends, but as it stands now, they can't punish the levels that Always Wanna Fly is getting. All he's got is, right now, well, Chronosphere up, but I still don't even know if that's enough to find a kill onto this Pudge.
Even though Pudge has only like 1 armor, a Faceless Void can't do it by himself, and they can bring someone else in, but you don't want to do that for a Pudge. You want to be finding the Alchemist, but it's just so dangerous to find the Alchemist right now. Like, ET knows, he has vision, he sees everything that's happening before his eyes. All he can hope to do is get a really nice Astral to steal a lot of it. Well,
they're bringing in Mitch, and they've also got the Faceless Void here, so they are going to be able to take away some of those, but still a good amount of them ended up going back to the Alchemist, and now with no fear in the area, keeping them back, they realize there's still more stacks to be taken. I don't know if they're going to be able to take it super easily, and the wraparound's going to be there as well. They drop the Chronosphere, misses the hook, and now no fear. He's going to get punished. Jiz's going to be able to drop, and they find that kill, but Milan might end up paying for it as well. Gogi, thinking about going for that time walk away, gets to the low ground. Should be safe. The flame break.
I'll take that trade if I'm Elements, because Friends had to commit 4 heroes to do that. Juggernaut showed up, Bad Rider showed up, everyone congregated on this area. And you have to, I mean, it's your jungle, and you can't really let the enemy invade this heavily and not try to punish them for it, but I would have hoped that Juggernaut just says, whatever, you guys can handle it, I'm gonna go take the tier 1 instead, much how the Slark is doing.
Right. Well, and yeah, Undershock still, I mean, getting his levels up. He used his Omni earlier and didn't really find much with it. But it looks like... I don't think that they're going to be able to take this tower anytime soon. Afterlife is there. They can probably find this kill, though. There's the Earth Spike that goes through. Good bit of damage. Raindrop's already expended through the first round of it, and they slow down the swift ending Slark, but he's still going to give chase. Nice movement away, and actually might bring down LeBron. So they do find 1 kill off the back of that. But Slark not able to push the tower. And it's like that's really about it.
It's a shame that the Bad Rider died before the Lion, because Lion is actually level 5, Bad Rider is level 4, and the rarity that you'll see a dual lane support actually be a higher level than the off lane, but Bad Rider's just had to do so much babysitting this game that it's not really a big concern for him to get an early level 6, but it would prevent a lot of these invasions, and Alchemist would feel a lot safer knowing that there's a lasso whenever he needs it.
Oh, always want to fly, thinking about it, wants to go in, is going to find him now, and, well, they cancel out the Star Storm. They have the Stomp follow-up, as well as that extra bit of damage. Good Fate's Edict, though, keeping always want to fly alive, and when you get healed back up, they throw an arrow, stealing little bits of the stack that they can. That's going to about do it.
Still no blocks, but they're stalling this Alchemist. But, I mean, he still managed to complete an armlet despite all of this activity. He's back now, and he's just going to take this next camp.
Mitch is still frustrating, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. He's just sort of walking him away. They don't realize now that that ward is there. With that, I think that Mitch needs to back out. Just away, not going to get caught.
I don't really know why both teams, like, I can understand why Elements has such a fascination with the Radiant jungle, I mean, the Dire jungle right now, but Friends don't need to be that concerned. They can take it later on. They don't need to put so much of an investment in it right now. Like, they're giving Slark a lot more space than he should be getting. Like, he's all alone in the bot lane, and he is level 6 now, and he has Shadow Dance, so he is pretty safe, but still, like, you can still contest him in farm. He can't stand there and take CS with any other hero. Now Jug finally shows up.
Yeah. Well, they also have a spin available if they wanted to try and go onto that, but it does feel like they're going to need at least something else out of this Bat Rider first, and Elements going back in towards the jungle. They're going to contest Yoku. He still does have his armlet, and ulti gonna come off of cooldown in a couple of seconds as well. Unfortunately, no luck as far as finding him. Who backs out should be safe.
Unfortunately, that ward didn't give complete vision of where Alchemist was.
LeBron caught, hexed, and out. They are also going to get the purge out. Fortune's End is going to be there, and another hook in 2 seconds if they want to wrap him around and go for it. But nothing doing as of yet. Still a little bit afraid of what could be coming their direction, and a Chronosphere is available. A lot of heroes in the area. This is pretty scary. Pudge picks up the bounty rune and is just going to go for the TP out. So pretty good decision right there. Plays it safe. Milan is going to run into everybody, though, and he might just go down. There's the hook shot, breaks that stomp, and he's going to end up going down here. I think, yeah, they find that kill.
And I would have said that that was okay had he managed. I mean, this ward fight is just hilarious. I've seen so many ward casualties in this general vicinity. It's just outrageous. And at a certain point, you have to say, is it worth a support spending like literally 600 gold to stop the Alchemist for maybe like 3 more minutes? Right now, ET is so poor. He has 1 more sentry. He started out with boots whenever he exited the fountain at 0 minutes, and I guess all he's completed in terms of progression is a wand, and I am willing to wager money that he's going to take that sentry ward and go right back to the camps in the Dire Tunnel.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of just how they've been playing it, and I mean, the interesting thing is that still the Alchemist is only slightly ahead of the Slark. It's really not that significant. So I kind of feel like this is really working out into the benefit of Elements. As long as they can make something happen with the Shadow Blade now on Swift Ending. Like, he's got Treads, he's got a Quill, he's got Shadow Blade. They can go in and take some fights, I feel like. Maybe it's just that level 11 they're waiting for Shadow Dance.
Possibly, but if he's not able to get anything done with this Shadow Blade, because this is the deciding factor. Now that Slark has managed to beat Alchemist to the first mid-game item, clock starts ticking. Because you put this much time into it, he's gonna go in on Oracle.
Yeah.
Oracle not level 6 yet, so he's gonna die for sure. It's a support kill, you'll take it. Hopefully you can progress into a tower kill now, but Alchemist is here, he puts down the Acid Spray, and now what's Slark gonna do?
Yeah, well, they're gonna move in to the jungle and see that everything's blocked and then back out. It's interesting though, because now you're in this awkward position where your Alchemist, I mean, where is he gonna farm? What's he gonna do? He's going over to this hard camp, but it doesn't really feel like it's gonna be as much. He's still building towards that Radiance, but they need to find him and kill him. That's the big thing.
He's not too concerned about farming too quickly. Juggernaut is there just in case things go sour, and so...
Oh,
nice
hook, able to follow it up, and that's going to be a dead void. Man, really nicely played there, and Stomp not able to break it out.
Yeah, but very, very nice, and that creates so much space for the Dire team. They're probably going to be able to take this mid tower very easily now.
Alright, well, Bounty Rune up top. Would imagine it's going to the big bad man himself, and this is going to come close to finishing off his relic with the extra gold that they're going to get from at least doing some damage to the tower. Undershock in some trouble though. No mana for Omni Slash. Dark Pact, a pretty good spell. They kill off the ET, but lose their Jug, and also No Fear going to tank an arrow. He's in some trouble. He's going to drop. They might end up losing this here. Gonna arm with Toggle Finger of Death. Lion gets the kill. LeBron Dota coming in at the clutch. And just like that, a triple kill for Swift Ending. 4 heroes dead. All off the back of that Slark play.
That was, I guess, chalk it up to clumsiness from that Juggernaut. He basically had the mana just barely for Omni Slash, but one Essence Shift took it away from him. But even if he did have the mana for Omni Slash, he would have hit a ton of creeps, ended the Omni Slash, which is, it's only level 6 Omni Slash, so it would have ended after 3 hits, and he was gonna die regardless. The rest of its team wasn't behind him while he was sieging that tower, and ideally, Dire team should have just committed. They had the Alchemist with an armlet. I don't know if Batrider was in the vicinity, but even if he didn't have his Blink Dagger completed, Firefly is still really good at discouraging pushes, but for some reason they let Juggernaut solo siege it. He got picked off, and then the rest of Friends just fell down.
That's not the best. That's a rough one indeed. They're still back into here, and of
double
course
damage on this Void.
Yeah, they're gonna try and take down Undershock. That
but he has Omni Slash.
Is still not quite enough. Able to dodge away from that arrow, getting bashed. They have Oracle in the area as well. And with that, they'll be able to find the turnaround as Afterlife jumps onto the Faceless Void, and with the catch here, this is going to be more than enough to find that kill. So still, things starting to work, and Swift Ending looking for the kill and always want to fly. I don't think that they can take that kill. They have to turn onto like an Oracle or something.
Well, he does have an Echo Saber completed, but too little too late.
Look! Alright, Swift Ending, what you doing? He has a pounce. Might be able to get out of there, gets the low grounds. Alright, he's good.
Alright, but these Void kills are great. They're so perfectly staggered that all of the... Like, Dire team doesn't really have that much in terms of hard CC. Oh, Slark's going in again.
Yeah, this is a little bit bold as well. That's going to be another kill. The Juggernaut was able to take down the ET on the other side of that. No Finger of Death for another 34 seconds, so...
It
looks like that's going to dissuade Elements from going any further there.
Slark's great at catching up to people, but that's only if he's not in vision. Once he's in vision, he's so slow that Juggernaut with his phase boots can easily outrun, but now he's out of vision, and his Lion is also out of vision. They want to go for something else.
Ping out that they're in the area here, spots the Acid Spray, and unfortunately this is going to be right at around the same time the Radiance comes in, so Yoku is probably not going to be able to get brought down here. I'll have that extra little bit of mischance, and it looks like, yep, backing out. So 16 minutes Armlet Radiance for the Alchemist, and he's feeling pretty good.
It's really not that much of a, like, considering all the effort that went into making sure that this Alchemist does not get a good start. 16-minute Radiance and Armlet is nothing to scoff at. He's perfectly still in the game. This is not like a recovery mode Alchemist at all. He's still doing just fine. And Slark, he's making space, he's making kills happen, but in the meantime, this Void kind of having a tough time.
Nicely played there as well by the Pudge to just keep him out of range of a couple more of those right clicks, and with that, Oracle's going to be able to... Well, he actually... Did Oracle not TP back home?
Nope,
oh, no, it was
survived.
Undershock?
I guess it was just Purifying Flames that kept him alive.
Weird. I don't know why you TP to the tier 2 tower.
Mind games.
That was really strange. But okay, nonetheless, it's looking like going to be just Yoku farming show. And he doesn't have anything beyond Brown Boots at this point, but there's the jump. They catch him after the Dark Pact ends. They've got the stun, and that's a huge kill. Alchemist finds it as well. Hook back onto LeBron Dota. Oh, always want to fly is making the plays his team needs him to. And now it's time for some more towers to get taken. That was such a great series of events for Friends.
As a Slark, you need to be exceptionally cognizant of when you use your Dark Pact and when it ends. Like, all of your spells need and your items need to work in harmony. Like, as soon as the pact ends, you either go invis or you pounce out. As soon as your Shadow Dance ends, you start hitting the Dark Pact immediately. He hit the Dark Pact to farm, and then immediately Batrider with his Lasso Blink came in, and Slark knew that Batrider had a blink. Oh,
there's the hook shot out there, hook pull out though, and that is going to be almost a kill onto the Void, not quite going down. They do find the kill on the Pudge with the Lion though, and it looks like the Jug should be able to stay alive through this. DD rune and all. Stomp, not gonna be in time.
Even if they got the stomp, this Jug had a DD and he had Omni Slash ready to go. Well, actually, I don't know. I think that TP took away his Omni Slash mana, but regardless, it's still a DD Jug. It would have been an interesting fight. And Dire Courier goes down to the.
Yeah, they got the item out to him first though for Yoku. It was arrow. That actually matters. That matters a whole hell of a lot. They don't have Finger of Death though, so he should be able to dodge away from this. Oh, and now they baited him into it. Always want to fly finds one. There's the pullback. Swift Ending can only look on in dismay. The rest of his team dying. The arrow baiting them into thinking they could take that fight, and now he needs to get the heck out of here. There's a Fortune's End, which does not connect, but man, great series of events for Friends, and this has been such a steep decline.
I was gonna say in that fight in mid, I was just like, yeah, it's great that Lion was able to get a kill on the Pudge, but you don't want to have to waste Finger on a Pudge, because you're gonna need that later on for actual targets that matter. They killed the Pudge, and Finger of Death has an exceptionally long cooldown. They may have been able to get a kill on the Alchemist, but there's not enough damage to go through it, even when he's not chemically raged, to be honest, because a lot of their damage is from the right clicks of Void and Slark, and with this mischance, you can't count on anything.
Oh, always want to fly. They're going to be able to keep him alive, at least for the moment. No fear, still there, and they're doing a good bit of damage, so always want to fly is going to die. A little bit awkward there.
Slark wants to find higher priority targets, though. Half the time this Pudge
Found
is
Undershock
because...
again.
Oh.
This is a pretty big one. Finger of Death still on cooldown, but if they could get a couple more right clicks onto this would be huge, and Milan's going to be there for the follow-up anyways. The Stomp secures the kill. Wasn't quite able to mantle away from that guy.
That's what I was hoping for, but that's a tough timing, and especially the AoE is so large that he may have been able to shove himself on the edge of the Stomp with the Morphling, I mean with the Manta, but didn't go out.
Oh, Yoku? Yeah, he's fine. Has the Yasha. Now looking for another catch. They're not going to be able to find that Void. It always feels like they're right on the cusp of finding one of these Elements players and just not quite there.
I think Elements learned their lesson, especially this Void learned his lesson. In the first 15 minutes or so, he was just like ever so slightly out of position, and Friends jumped all over him, and at this point it's better safe than sorry.
Oh. Well, no fear. Still very broke as a joke, but starting to feel more and more like this game is going to get out of hand for the side of Elements. Oh my god, alright, they got him, why not? They've got the Dark Pact, but there's the catch. No, not going to be able to find him, but they do end up going for the TP out, not going to be there either as the Flame Break secures that kill. A really couple of great plays by Always Want to Fly. His Pudge play has been spectacular.
I'm surprised that the Slark was not moving a little bit more unpredictably. He knew he was in vision. His Shadow Dance buff was gone. He was moving very, very slowly. That's easy pickings for something like a Pudge. Maybe he assumed that Pudge wouldn't have been in the vicinity, but even something like a Bat Rider you need to be concerned about. And Lasso was purged off. Still, they managed to get the kill, and LeBron Dota in a very odd position right now.
Yeah, alright, well, he dodged the hook, and now Earth Spike, he's going down. There was not a whole lot of ways out of there for that Lion. Pretty nice kill for them, and it looks like Yoku now also gonna have his Manta style brought out to him on top of just, you know, tremendous amount of farm. He's 6,000 gold up on this Slark. It's starting to feel like this is just a very difficult game for them to come away with. Now he's got a bounty rune to boot. 500 gold. Jeez.
Salt in the wounds. And Slark opted to complete the full Silver Edge. I don't really know if that's the call, because I mean, there are one of two reasons that you really want to do it when you're this far behind. It's either you want to break something that can help you get a kill, or you need the damage reduction to stay alive. And I don't think either of those things are going to really help Swift Ending or his team. I would have preferred to see a different item that would have helped him be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe something like a BKB even.
That's tough. You can understand, like, there's ways in which it can help out, like those couple of little plays on the Oracle. He might have found the kill with the bonus damage from Silver Edge, but in the meantime, he goes on to Yoku. It doesn't look like it's going to nearly be enough damage, though, and Mirana finds the kill on the Juggernaut in the bottom lane. Using the Finger of Death to secure it. That was a pretty good one.
Juggernaut's pretty far out by himself. Usually you're not used to the enemy still having a tier 1 at 23 minutes into the game when you have an Alchemist, so maybe he just thought he was safer.
Oh, Swift Ending. Always want to fly testing, but not going for it. Oracle? Alright, they're going to be able to hook him out maybe. They don't hook him back out, and instead they're going to pull in the Faceless Void, and now stunned. This is maybe a bit of a problem, but Yoku's going to be big, large, and in charge in the middle of all of them, bringing down one. That is going to be a dead...
No detection.
Oh my god, Lion's already gone, but yeah, they can't secure anything else off the back of this, it looks like.
Milan.
ET is going to be the only one.
It wasn't really worth saving the Oracle. You'd rather go for an aggressive play whenever they're diving counter like that. So I think it was the right call. They get out. I mean, I feel like they would have been able to do a little bit more with Bat Rider's Lasso, especially now that he has a Blink Dagger and Force Staff both completed. But I guess if they don't commit too much, they can go for this Roche. It does get scanned out by Radiant, so they know. But Void doesn't have Chrono. Lion doesn't have Finger for another 20 seconds. They're not going to be able to stop this.
Yeah, this is really hard tank indeed, and I mean, they're grouping up to try and make something happen. It feels like they have to do something here, but Swift Ending, walking in, there are only 1 sentries in the area. But yeah, this goes down, Out picks it up, and this is starting to feel more and more out of hand. 7,000 gold up roughly now on the Slark, and they pull back in the LeBron Dota. Lion's going down. Arrow to turn it back around. It's going to connect onto Ophir. That's going to be a dead Oracle, but nonetheless, they're just too big. And I mean, an Oracle at this point is not really the biggest deal in the world. They have another hook shot. 1 second. Mitch jumps in, catches the Starstorm. Fine. Undershock's still there. Omni Slash available. They do end up finding the kill onto that Pudge, but is there anything else coming back? Like, the answer is no.
Ending's doing a really good job at holding onto his Shadow Dance. He's not... Oh? No, there's no Basher. Oh, well, he has the Basher, but it's in his stash, not on his person on Swift Ending. And
it's in the
he's doing a really exceptional job at holding onto his Shadow Dance. Like you had said earlier, Slark does a relatively good job at dealing with Alchemist and Juggernaut, because it's kind of this cat and mouse game of who uses their spells first. And if Swift Ending has to use Shadow Dance defensively to get out of a fight, then the next minute or so, Slark can't be aggressive. But if he's able to hold on to it, Juggernaut feels paralyzed. Even though he has the Omni Slash, you can't go on a Slark, and the rest of his team is so far back that you need something like a Blink Dagger on the Juggernaut to get anywhere behind the front line. But instead, it looks like he's going to be going for a Diffusal.
Yeah. Nice. Still pulling in a couple creeps at various points. Always want to fly, testing his hooks to see if they're still working. At what point do you start thinking for Friends that you want to actually start taking objectives? Do you even worry about that too much at this stage in the game, or are you comfortable just continuing to spam out the waves and get farm?
it's dependent on whenever elements, I guess, whenever they start a fight, Friends will react accordingly. All of Friends is migrating towards a tower, then sure, take it. You can handle a fight. And if Slark's trying to get fresh with you, or Void goes for an aggressive chrono, then roll with that fight as well.
They got the Hex off, but Undershock apparently still got the... Ooh, that was really weird interaction. Undershock's gonna die, but somehow the Hex happened at the exact same time the Blade Fury did, because it made the animation.
Yeah, 26:30. I'm gonna look out for that because I would like to see that.
Well, Swift Ending gets the invis off, gonna chase Yoku. He does get bashed, in a little bit of trouble maybe, but Batrider's there here. Now. Maybe gonna be able to go for a bit more. He's in his ulti form, but now there's still some problem. There's gonna be a lot of regen coming in, and Yoku ready to chase. He's gonna be back up to full HP in just a second. Oh my god, what a combination.
So that time Slark definitely played his spells.
Oh my god,
perfectly.
They hook him in. But he's going down. Always want to fly in some trouble. He's gonna die.
Arrow
no
connects.
Fear connection. Oh my god, expired at the last second. So they get out with pretty much everybody.
They get out with murder.
Top lane's being pushed in as well.
Pushing high ground, not quite. Needs to be careful. Use his time walk. He's gonna get stunned here. Oh, nice Manta dodge.
That's a Manta dodge.
Alright, well, for not having to use Chrono, well, not that they even had it, but that's still really nice to get the kill on the Pudge, and Alchemist does get out. It's very difficult to get an Alchemist killed with an Oracle still alive, so Slark is being more of a force than I was expecting, which is good. Swift Ending is staying relevant despite not really farming that much, but mostly trying to be an assassin across the map, but I mean, every minute, Alchemist gets larger and larger, no matter how much pressure you apply to him.
And this is always the fear for me with these Alchemist drafts, is that you get into a position where you're, you always are going to be able to scale better than your opponents because you can build into the Aghanim Scepters. So unless you hit a timing where you're significantly stronger than the Alch and you can really take fights, it's so hard for them to deal with it. And now it looks like they're getting ready to set up shop around the mid-tier 2. Well, Alchemist, he decides he wants to farm some more. Can't blame him for that.
Yes, Octarine Core completed BOTs. This is gonna be Naga mode, and actually, oh, stream is about to hit. Talking about? I don't know if Hex is put on cooldown. Hex was put on cooldown. Wow, you're right! That's
Isn't that
very
weird?
strange. That's very, very strange. Because it's not like a Dark Pact. It's not delayed. Blade Fury's instant, so I don't know how he was able to pull that off. That's
one of the weirdest interactions I've ever seen. Like, they got the Hex off, but he's still got Blade Fury off. In the meantime, though, Mitch is probably dead. They pull him back in, and no Stomp is going to come out to turn this one around. And meanwhile, Yoku looking for a bit more. The Yule Scepter lift up. He should be able to walk away from this one with impunity unless they manage to find a catch. It's not going to happen. So they don't get too much done with that Aegis, except for getting Yoku 10,000 net worth ahead of his opponents, which is actually a lot. That's a whole lot. It's a hell of a whole lot. And Mirana answers the question that I was about to have with her dying purchase. She ends up buying the Lincoln's recipe, and I think that that's a very useful item this game for a variety of reasons. Chrono? Anger of Death? Yoku? Maybe gonna go down? They do find that kill. All right, ET gets it, and that is Yoku's second death of the game.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They needed to wait for that one very patiently. Definitely, but it's the trade-off. Whenever you get these BOTs, you go for more aggressive farming strategies. He had no vision. He had no idea where the enemy team was. He punished for it. I'm pretty sure he's only going to make that mistake once. All right, well, let's see how this little thing goes here. We've got Elements maybe gonna be able to make something happen. It just feels like it's so hard for them to even find an objective after a huge kill like that. All the lanes are constantly pushed in, and they can do their best at it, but there's still so many heroes that can pick them off. There are, and even though Juggernaut didn't go for like a Invis build or a Blink Dagger build, he's still so good. And mid lane. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. LeBron, he wants to make things happen, but unfortunately can't really do it. They do get the bash for a moment at least onto the Jug, and it looks like Swift Ending's gonna have to disengage from this. They don't quite connect onto the stomp. Always want to fly though. Getting gone upon by Swift Ending. Dark Pact runs out, looking for the counterplay with the hook shot, but not gonna find him as of yet. There's the ultimate as well, getting thrown out, and now trying to stay alive by even just dismembering a creep. Finds the hook, pulls back in Swift Ending. Can they actually get this kill though? Where is the reveal? It's not on any of these heroes. Everybody's still alive for Friends, and the arrow is not going to connect onto Yoku. Mitch a little bit desperate with that one, and it looks like it's time to just aim for this tier 2 tower here. He is hitting so hard. AC completed.
I can't believe everyone's still at full HP after all that song and dance, but I guess that's what you get with Healing Ward and Oracle and Octarine, Core, Radiance, Alchemist, and they're gonna go for this tower, and Juggernaut has his Blink Dagger completed now, so I guess he's kind of learned his lesson that he needs some sort of mobility item to catch up to these Elements heroes to let Alchemist be just a tanking hero while he's able to, Undershock is able to tear apart the backlines, so I'm looking forward to see how this works out. It definitely gives Friends a lot more versatility in these fights than right now. They seem very straightforward. It's basically like, if Alchemist lives, then we do whatever Alchemist wants. If he dies, then we just have to back out.
I mean, this was something that, and I'll speak about this briefly, in the Chinese scene, they kind of responded to Alchemist by getting Midases on every other hero in the game, basically. And what the idea was behind it is there's like a basically 8-minute on the dot roach respawn, was that you have an Alchemist that's very farmed, but the rest of your heroes aren't incredibly farmed. It's the same sort of Naga syndrome that you get. And the other problem that we've got right now, I feel like, is that Mirana comparison to Jug is about equal, but Batrider isn't bringing as much to these fights as the Void is now with the Diffusal Blade and Manta style. Do you think that Elements have a timing here where they can actually like force high ground, or even think about trying to take some more objectives if they win a couple fights?
High ground's gonna be a long shot. I think it'll all depend on if they can manage to pick this Alk off again. Like you said last time, it was kind of difficult for them to manage to get these objectives taken even after such a large kill. But now Elements has hit their timing windows for their items that as long as they're in a relatively good position and Alk dies, then they can do something. If Alk's alive, they're not gonna be able to do anything.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. Still very farmed heroes on all accounts, and Slark is sitting at 4,900 gold in the bank. I mean, for being 12,000 net worth behind the Alk, fact of the matter is that still Friends only have a 4,000 gold lead at 33 minutes into the game. This doesn't feel insurmountable, which is pretty odd considering how far the Alchemist is ahead.
Yeah, Slark has managed to stay relevant the whole time. I was saying it earlier that I'm impressed that he's managed to find farm despite, I mean, every single time I look over to him, he's rarely farming creeps. Most of the time he's roaming around in his Shadow Blade trying to find kills, and 8-minute Roche respawn definitely working out to Friends' favor. They end up giving it to the Juggernaut.
All right, well, we'll see how this next couple of minutes go, and does look like now you've got yourself a Slark who's finished off the Scotty, does have the Basher, opts to go for the Scotty as opposed to the any
Abyssal
BKB
Blade.
or Abyssal Blade. Do you kind of like this idea? Do you think this is the right way to be playing it?
I think it's a good call. Right now, he's mainly hoping to get damage off of Essence Shift. If he's able to stand in the fight and just keep whacking away at Alchemist, I mean, Alchemist will stay alive, but Slark will get a ton of damage as a trade-off. I mean, False Promise won't stop that. But you don't really need that much damage, you just need to stay alive to actually start turning the fight around.
And I guess also you delay that BKB, which means you're able to fight later on in the game as well. You do eventually need to go for that. But in the meantime, it's looking like a lot of these items from Elements are all about keeping those other cores alive. You've got the Lotus Orb completed now for the Lion, so a couple of interesting interactions there. Of course, you've got Pudge with his Dismember, could end up playing a big role, but the big one for me is the Afterlife Batrider initiation. If you take that away from them by virtue of a Lotus Orb, all of a sudden they have, I mean, a Pudge who's granted pretty strong, but I feel like this is starting to even swing more into Elements being able to take fights in their favor.
These items are very smart at allowing a Slark to high ground siege. The reason I said that Alchemist needs to be dead is because Acid Spray plus the Manta Illusion spam will be too much for the entire team of Elements to go up against. But if Elements puts all of their, I guess, buffs on one hero like the Slark, just allow him to siege and just go back and forth between the creep wave, hitting the tower and then going back, then I think they're able to definitely do a lot of structural damage, just as long as they can manage to find that window before Alp gets even larger, because he still has ways to go. He's still on this armlet, which is just a transition item.
Looking for the catch. They were waiting for somebody to come and steal the bounty rune, and then they missed the hook. So a little bit unfortunate there, but he's been playing good so far, so we'll give him a pass.
Yeah, he has his Blink Dagger completed on Pudge as well, which is going to open things up substantially.
No fear. Might not have spotted that as it is nighttime, so it's off the other direction, and an arrow, meanwhile, is going to scout out the area. I don't know if it spotted Afterlife there or not.
All things considered, I think Elements still does have room to grow. This Void has gone for a very utility-heavy build, not very much in terms of, I guess, traditional damage items. You don't see that Lincolns on him that we typically see either. So if they manage to get 2 Lincolns on Elements and that Lotus Orb that's already completed from the Lion, it's going to be so difficult to do anything to this Slark.
Arcane Rune also there. Yeah, it's feeling like, I don't know, for Friends, a little bit scary, and
Undershot.
Maybe going to go on to this Juggernaut, who is going to get jumped upon, and the bash, but the hook back. Play there by Always Want to Fly. Had that hook not been there, I think with the bashes, they might have been able to find the kill. Waiting. Lotus Orb. Silver Edge. He's going to find Afterlife here, and this... Oh, they hook him back, though! In some trouble now, control LeBron. He gets the Hex off, and they're going to be able to keep him alive for the moment. Always Want to Fly, still there in the False Promise. Undershock trying to run away. They get out. Another one of those Earth Splitters, but Always Want to Fly is not going to die. So I think with that, Elements need to back out, and they are going to get out of there. That Earth Splitter, so much of the damage from the side of Elements at this point.
It's a damn shame that Void wasn't in a better position, because had they had a Blink Chrono, that fight would have been devastating for Friends, but now they want to go aggressive. They know that Earth Splitter's down. Gonna see the Slark? No, Slark sees him, though.
Yeah, that little bit of extra nighttime vision for Slarky Malarkey paying off.
They still have the Aegis on the Undershock, so they want to go for a high ground siege. Now is the time to do it. They can't commit to a fight, I don't think, because the supports and cores of Elements are just... Like, the farm is much more evenly distributed on Elements than it is on Friends, and that's always a concern. Like you said, whenever there's an Alchemist in the game, he just takes up so much farm that you need something like a Midas on the rest of your team to ensure that they stay relevant. Right now, Oracle has literally nothing. He looks like a 16-minute Oracle, not a 38-minute Oracle.
Well, they are trying to keep these creeps and illusions out of their base. And it looks like with LeBron there, they're just going to be able to take down those two illusions very rapidly. Everybody from the rest of the side of Friends is heading back home, and with the Aegis expiring, maybe now an opening for Elements to take a fight. This has evolved into a very different game than we normally see, and Slark, hero known for taking over games, can potentially do this. Oh, he's just barely avoiding the scan. He walks into it now, though.
Bad Rider has the gem, so they know that he's there.
Spot him. Dark Pack. All right. Not going to go for it, though, and he's going to get out.
Bad Rider didn't trust that he... Oh, that hook. So close. He would have been able to get the lasso off.
They've got Undershock. He might go down here. Manta style, dropping low. Juggernaut dead in the mid lane. And this is starting to look a little bit scary. He doesn't have buyback. And he's dead for 70. They need to get out right the hell now.
Well, Alchemist definitely needs to get out.
They're running. They're looking. They spot him out. Yoku, they have the Radiance on him, and he's going to end up going down here. Potentially, they need a bash. They drop the Chrono. Yoku is dying in the Chronosphere, dead for 80 seconds. He does have buyback, but Judge still does not. And Afterlife doing whatever he can to keep them off of this, but going to pay himself? No, they can't catch him out. That would have been... there was a moment there with Yule Scepter where he might have been able to do it.
That was actually an amazing play by the Bad Rat to go for the good cut as soon as he saw Alchemist dying, because now they can't push. Alchemist is dead for 60 seconds. All they're gonna get is this tier 2 mid. And, I mean, that was a little bit clumsy from Alchemist. He had his TP off cooldown for at least 2 seconds before Slark finally found him, and Slark had terrible luck, didn't get any bashes, Void didn't get any bashes. He was like, I'm not losing this kill, just pops the chrono. They're gonna take this tier 2. Maybe they can do some damage to this tier 3, but Alchemist does have buyback if he needs it.
This is looking like, I mean, if you force the buyback, there's actually the hook in, but not gonna do a ton of damage. Just wanted to blink out, pull him a little bit out of position, and put the fear of Pudge in him. Swift ending, hitting away at this tower. He does have, at this point, a Demon Edge, and I mean, this could go one of a couple different ways. They hook him back in again. All right, Lotus Orb. They're a little bit scared about how this is going out. Undershock is back up, and Alk will be as well as 7 seconds. All right, MKB or Rapier? What's the play here if you're Slark?
I'm pretty sure it's MKB. Things aren't that, you know, you don't need to go hysterical and go for a Hail Mary play like a Rapier quite yet. There's still time. You're still fine.
Okay. I'm waiting for the Rapier. I hope it is. But
Look,
I mean, you look at the
no
difference
one
in
would
terms
be
of
happier than me, believe me. But
the difference in terms of earned experience too. 15,000 into the favor of Elements. They are really hitting their stride now.
It's true. I'm not gonna deny that. All I know is that I've been burned many times before, and at this point I'm just so cynical about Rapiers in pro games that unless I see a Gyro or an Ember or a Dusa, it's not gonna happen before 60 minutes.
All right. Well, MKB was picked up for the Alk as well. Not really any heroes that he needs to worry about that yet for. The other thing that I'm kind of waiting for as well is, like, you've got this E-Blade combo that's coming out from Mirana, not to mention the Natural Order aura that just dismantles and allows Mitch to deal so much damage in these team fights. It really is feeling to me that with ET and Faceless Void, in the midst of these fights, like, you almost can't get chronoed with Alk, otherwise you're dead. I don't know if he's tanky enough.
Yeah, Elements is itemized so well. They've got defensive items for the Slark. They've got offensive items for the support heroes of Friends, and then they've got, you know, the cores that have itemized very correctly to deal with someone like the Alchemist and the Jug that really, with a good initiation, Elements can pick apart every member of Friends with relative ease.
Oh, mid lane looking for the kill. Milan out of position. He is going to get punished for that. So they find that kill. Top lane still being pushed in by Mitch. And if they want to, they don't want to overextend. It's still so tenuous, the not lead, but at least fighting chance that Friends have been able to pull or Element have been able to pull themselves back into this.
And a bit of a misplay by Mirana. I was hoping that she was going to toss an arrow into the pit before she left, but
Under shock. All right. False promise, keeping them a little bit tanky. They do drop the Chronosphere, catches onto No Fear as well. They don't have Alchemist in it, but with Swift Ending here, they find that kill. Meanwhile, hooking them further forward. I think that Swift Ending like that. That's going to be dead No Fear now, and potentially going to be able to find some more for this. LeBron Dota running pretty quickly with the leap movement speed, and now the instant hex to follow it up. There's the bash, there's the kill. Suddenly, 3 dead in the mid lane, and Friends, you got to be shaking in your boots now.
This is definitely a tier 3, possibly even a Rex. Alchemist, okay, so I had said earlier, unless Alchemist dies, they're not going to do anything. I guess you can also kill everyone but Alchemist, and it also does a pretty good job.
Jug doesn't have buyback again. He's 100 gold off of it. Go hit a creep, man. What are you doing? Oh, lordy, this is scary. All right, well, the Firefly to try and pull the creep waves through. They throw out an arrow, not going to connect on anybody as of yet. They still have backdoor protection here, so all's not lost. But now with the creep wave coming in, it's gone. Swift Ending's hitting away, and I don't know how you stop this at this point.
They can't stop it, they can just stall it. They can wait for Juggernaut to come up, and Elements is playing it extremely safe.
Oh, E-Blade combo, dead No Fear. Did not respond in time with the Fate's Edict. A nice blink away from Afterlife, not going to get caught by that Hex, and they're pulling back in LeBron. This might be enough, but even still, if the Stomp comes through and they're able to find him, all right, Always Want to Fly misses his hook, has another one in 6 seconds. If they can manage to catch up to it instead, they're looking for the kill and not going to be able to find it. They just don't have the vision. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Bad Rider had their gem. He was unfortunately a little bit too far back to do anything. And even if they had managed to find anyone, I wouldn't be surprised if Elements was okay turning that fight altogether, because Slark still had Shadow Dance. He still had plenty of damage to dish out, but they're okay. They took their Rex. Lion created a fair amount of space for them to do that while he got hooked under tier 4s, and this is... I wouldn't have expected this to be how the game turned out at maybe like 20 minutes ago, because this Alchemist just has not had the impact I wanted him to.
All right, Lion buys back. They spot them moving into the Roche pit, and Arrow gonna connect onto Undershock, but Yoku with the Moon Shard is hitting pretty damn fast now. MKB in hand, and they stole away the bounty rune. I don't think that they can come and contest this quickly enough. They actually connect the hook onto Mitch. He's in a little bit of trouble. Afterlife pulls him back in now. Where's the rest of their damage? Yoku is alone in the pit right now, and they're going to be able to kill off No Fear. They drop down the Chronosphere. It's on 2. Undershock's going down again. Yoku is there, but I don't know if he can really stop this. They do get the Juggernaut back in just a second. He drops the Omni Slash, going to connect as well onto the creeps. It switches over to Swift Ending. Yoku still controlled. He's going down. Nowhere to go for the Alchemist, and the big bad man is brought down. Undershock does kill off LeBron, but I think Swift Ending is too large and in charge now. Bashed up and 20 stacks of Essence Chip. Yes, please. Unstoppable streak for him. And Friends, they crumble in the late game. What is happening?
This is the danger of picking an Alchemist. Sometimes you can't be the entire team. That whole fight, even though Sark was the poster boy for how much damage was dealt that fight, it really came down to how much utility the supports of Elements provided in their dying moments. The 2 carries lifted up onto the shoulders of the support, able to survive and deal so much damage throughout that entire fight. Meanwhile, Friends, the Oracle got blown up like much earlier from the shotgun from the Mirana, and Mirana jumped in, caused a lot of havoc, was basically baited the lasso, because Bad Rider doesn't really want to have to use the lasso on a Mirana at this point, but you need to get whatever kill you can get. Then Slark came in, nice Chrono, nice Earth Splitter, cleaned up the rest of the fight, and Friends, they're gonna have to manage to start being aggressive now, because if they continue playing passively, they're going to lose everything else.
That's a rough one indeed. They forced the buyback on the Alchemist, so this basically means, you know, if he goes down again, he's just not tanky enough. Game's pretty much over. I don't know exactly what you need to do at this point either. Like, maybe Bat Rider Aghanims is the answer if you give it to him with Alk, but even that, I'm not sure if it's good enough, because man, Swift Ending chasing here. They want this so badly. He might overextend slightly. They jump onto him. They're going to have the Dark Pact off in just a second, but they found No Fear, and Afterlife can't go onto him now. They've been able to pull Mitch back in, but that's not nearly enough, and they throw back his way. Omni Slash backing back and forth. They're not doing enough damage. They don't bring down Mitch. They aren't even barely going to be able to kill off the Lion, if at all, and Milan is there as well. They're going to try and take this fight now, but they've already lost 2. Slark is coming back in, and Undershock starting to go down. No way to stop it. The Earth Splitter goes through again, and Yoku alone, with the exception of the BKB Bat Rider. They know that if they lose him here, it's all gone. And a godlike streak for Swift Ending, carrying the game on his shoulders. Afterlife eats the cheese, but what are you really going to do now? All right, he blinks down.
Nice juke, but it's not gonna make anything better from Slark cutting through your entire team like butter. 45 Essence Shift stacks. There's nothing that you can do to him. Every time, like, they're 2 melee players. You can't kite him. You can't 1v1 him. You can't beat him.
Slark put in on his best puppy impression. Just fight me. Friends, looks like Afterlife. They're gonna get caught in the Chronosphere. Oh, No Fear. Say it ain't so. They've got the Star Storms. Afterlife is gone. Always Want to Fly's dead as well. And Undershock, one of the lone survivors left there. They're gonna pull back. Well, the Void, is it enough though? Arrow dodge for the moment. Omni Slash still doing damage, but Swift Ending, he has 50, 60 stacks of Essence Shift. 61 in the end, with over 300 Agi. Oh my god, GG gets called. What a monster.
God, that was a testament to Slark's late game prowess. For anyone such as myself, I'm usually skeptical of what a Slark can do in the late game. Like early in the draft, we were saying like, okay, maybe when it comes down to man fighting against 2 cores, Slark wouldn't be able to handle it. But I mean, Void was just there for utility most of the time, and even then, Slark was just